Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here again. You know, this vlog started out to be a way of just documenting my journey and to just share my story with you guys. And as I have come up with the topics to discuss, I've realized that there are key things in my life that I've experienced that I've had to learn the hard way. This will hopefully be a way for me to share those stories and share those challenges I faced in the hope that you won't have to go through the same things that I did. So today we're going to be talking about how to start even when you don't have anything. What does nothing really mean for you, for your particular idea, for your particular project? What does nothing mean? What I think it is that whatever you have, you feel that it won't get you to the level of success for the vision that you have in your mind of what this project or this product or this brand could end up becoming. The one thing that I will tell you for sure that I have learned is that the vision that you have in your mind, who says that that is what is going to happen immediately you start? Who says that that is not a future vision that you have for this particular project? You want that to be the result immediately after you start. From my experience, it is much better for you to start than to not start at all. Just graduated from Berkeley in 2013. I moved to New York, started living with a couple of friends. Anyone who has been to New York, you know how fast-paced and crazy it is. And I felt that I was literally just thrown into the deep end and you either sink or you swim. I was still coming back to Lagos quite often. I was still trying to do concerts. Me coming back as often as I could was just a chance for me to stay relevant in the space, in the industry. So I got to a point where I was struggling with making money. I was teaching piano lessons to little kids. The one great job that I had was that I was singing 3 hours of jazz in a high-end restaurant in the middle of Manhattan. That would pay quite well, and then of course I would get tips from the patrons. Everything else was just little multiple streams of income. I would go on help.com and look for any errand type gigs I could do, grocery shopping for the elderly, things like that. So it was only teaching piano and doing that gig. Those are my only music related gigs. I deserve better than. So I wanted to stay relevant. I wanted to have music out there, but I just did not have the amount of funds I needed to make it happen. So I decided to write down a list of my skills. You just graduated from Berkeley College of Music. What are the skills that you currently possess? Songwriting, singing, production. And I said to myself, can these 3 things aid me in putting together a body of work of music? The answer was yes. What are your skills? What is your talent? What are your gifts? What do you think could be compelling enough for you to use to put forward in a project to lead to success? So you have this idea, you have this amazing idea. How amazing is it? Have you put it in front of anybody and asked them, is this idea good? Have you put it in front of people who you can trust to tell you the truth about this idea? It is very, very important that you do your research about this idea prior to starting. Make sure that the idea is good enough where you feel like, okay, this is something that I can put my time towards, put my energy towards, put whatever investments I can towards it and go. Now, 'cause you've turned out. You have to start with the end in mind. What results do you want to see at the end of getting this project done? So at that point I decided, okay, I want to have a body of work out and I want it to be some sort of album. Let you back in my life the second. Authenticity. Is this idea authentic to your values? Is it authentic to who you really are? If you start this idea, is it going to be a struggle to maintain? A lot of times we start a project and we feel like, yeah, this is what I want to do because the industry or my field says that this is the right thing to do, but it might not always be. And even if it is the right thing to do in that era or in that time, can you sustain this idea moving forward? What are the things about this project that is in line with my values? Am I going to be true to myself when I see it to fruition? Am I going to be true to myself after the fact? Am I going to have to step out of my own values, or will I still be able to carry on as it expands and as it gets bigger, continuing to be myself? When you are going to actually put this idea or this project out into the world, how are you going to do it? Like, if you don't have any form of digital shareability, then it's not going to work. If I'm going to have some music out or an album out, what am I going to use and how am I going to promote it? Because this, of course, at this point, it's self-promotion. I'm going to release it on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on Spotify. Shareability is important. So are you going to do it by email, WhatsApp, social media, whatever it is? So I had this idea to write and record 14 songs and release them every single day for 14 days, and the final day will be Valentine's Day. If you've been following me for a while, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, it's called The Fires of Red. I wanted to release music, but I wanted to do it in a very special and interesting way that could catch people's attention. This idea that you have, how is it going to stand out from what everybody else is doing in your industry? The one thing that I got from all those DIY musician websites was make sure that the release is unique. If you don't have all the things that you would usually need for a big distribution of an album, you don't have a music video, make sure that your release strategy is unique. What can you research about concerning your idea that can help you narrow down things that you need to put in place to make sure that it stands out above the rest? And then the last thing you need is your work ethic, and a way for you to stay on top of whatever you start is to get yourself some accountability officers. Trust me, like, you have to choose people who are going to hound you, who have the time from their day job to call you and hound you and like remind you you're supposed to be on this deadline, you're supposed to have sent me this song, you're supposed to have sent me this artwork, this SWOT analysis of whatever you're doing. You need people who are going to be on top of you to see your plan through, so that you can actually start. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. There are various ways that people can get money, can make money. You either have multiple streams of income, you can barter, ask for financial support, you can get a loan, you can get an investor. But this vlog is about how to start even when you say you have nothing. When I listed my skills and I said, okay, this is what I want an album out, I want some songs out. This is the idea that I have, this is why it's unique, this is why it might get people to get interested. Now, my skills versus the idea. So what's the missing link? Okay, it's to like have a producer, a writer, graphic designer, and I need to pay these people. I'm not a graphic designer, but I can draw. I just put sketches out, and that was how I did it. People who want to give money to a creative, they have to see some kind of traction. They have to see some kind of financial viability. They have to see that even if this is just sponsorship, am I putting my money in the hands of somebody that I feel is going to use it wisely? And the only way that you can get people to see you like that is if you have experience in doing things, in starting projects, in seeing things through. If they see that this person has been working hard on this, that, and the other, then they are much more likely to put their money behind something in the future where you have already created this track record of all these different projects that you did with very limited resources, with very little money, with very little support, with very little promotion, whatever it was. And that is the major lesson that I have learned the hard way, but I have learned it. Putting a team together might be important for your brand or for your project or for your idea, but just remember that whoever you choose has to understand where you're trying to go, has to understand your vision, understand their role and what they are actually doing towards getting this idea off the ground. If there are people who decide that they definitely don't want to take your money because they know how little you have, then that's fine, but at least offer first. For as little as you can offer to give, make sure that the person understands that they have to do it to the best of their ability, because that's why they're there. You're there to produce an incredible product, not a product that is low budget and therefore has a low standard. No. The one big thing that people say you need in this day and age is followers. Like, the amount of times that I have had sleepless nights over, oh my gosh, I don't have enough followers, I didn't get this many likes, I didn't get this many people commenting. Like, seriously, drive yourself crazy. But a community is important, but the quality of community is more important than the quantity. And as long as you treat your community right, they will stand by you. Guys, there are so many advantages to starting. Starting gives you more creative ideas along the way. Starting exposes you to more people who are willing to perhaps be financially supportive in the future. Starting exposes you to other people who you can bring on your team. If somebody like you, a creative like you, is looking for work, sees your project, I love this vision, I want to get on board, that is a +1 human resource that you did not have yesterday because you didn't start. An important thing for you to know is that starting shows leadership. So I put out this string of 14 songs. Some were crap, but some were amazing. 2 of the songs from The Fires of Red made it to my EP about 5 years later. 1 of the songs from The Fires of Red made it to a movie you might know called The Wedding Party 2. Another of the songs was put in a TV series called Before 30 and The Men's Club. And Kilo Fair was actually found by the world famous Michelle Phan. Who out there knows Michelle Phan? She put it in one of her makeup tutorials, and at the time she was getting millions of followers. She had millions of subscribers and she was getting millions of views every day. So that was a major deal. Guys, starting is also a major ego boost. Let me tell you why. If you have limited resources, if you literally don't have anything to start something and you start anyway, imagine like when it's actually received well, you shared it with people and people are loving it, and then they ask you how to do this. How much more confident would you be when you know that against all the odds you were still able to put this thing out there? If you don't actually ever start projects, you just keep losing confidence. Starting also gives confidence to other people who are looking at you. Imagine when you share your projects and there's somebody out there who didn't know how to start something, and then they saw what you were doing and they helped them to start. That has happened to me several times. People have come up to me and be like, because you did your Just Kaline monthly concert series, like how did you even do that monthly, every single month with your band? Like where'd you get the money? People don't know that there was no money to start with. There was literally, all I had was my band who were willing to just not take any money for the first couple of months. I had owners of venues who were giving me their venues for free. My dancers would come in for very little pay. We had rehearsals in a free studio thanks to like a sponsor. People don't know what goes on behind the scenes. The first couple of shows that we had were in venues that could only seat about 30 people, and I had a 7-piece band. I even remember a bad review that I got where someone said that, yeah, I went to Kaline's show, and to be honest, like her band members were more than the audience members. Rude! Talk about cyberbullying. But yeah, people don't know the behind the scenes. It wasn't until like the 8th or 9th show that we actually got like some semblance of sponsorship, and it wasn't until the following year that we actually got like a drink sponsor to help with some of the shows. But to start with, nothing like that. You actually have much more to win than you have to lose. And we're talking about starting today, but how about continuing? How about maintaining a certain standard? When your idea and your brand and your project starts to expand and get bigger and it involves more people, you need to like build a bigger team. You need to get marketing and promotion. How are you going to maintain those high standards that you set for yourself when you had nothing? And how are you going to keep going and keep expanding and keep being fresh with your ideas? There are several hurdles to jump over, there are several rivers to cross, and that is all part of the journey. And for as long as we continue to be on this journey, we have to remember that the journey is actually the success, because these challenges, they are making you a better artist, a better creative. All we have to do is just embrace them and keep moving. True greatness consists of being great in the little things. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Comment below if you have any other ways that you feel could encourage other people to start what they're working on. And just comment as well if this has helped you, if you feel like this was useful, because it would be great for me to just know that you were encouraged. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye guys.